Have you ever seen an old black and white film and found yourself laughing out loud, or maybe even shedding a tear, without a single word being spoken? If you have, there's a good chance you were watching the work of a master, the one and only Charlie Chaplin. He wasn't just a comedian, he was a storyteller, a poet of the silent screen who could make the entire world feel with just a tip of his hat and a twirl of his cane. But behind that iconic mustache and baggy trousers was a life as dramatic and moving as any of his films. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on the incredible journey of the man who taught the world to laugh and cry, often at the very same time. Born in London in 1889, Charles Spencer Chaplin's childhood was anything but a comedy. It was a story straight out of a Charles Dickens novel, marked by extreme poverty and hardship. His parents were music hall entertainers, but their careers and their family soon fell apart. His father was largely absent, and his mother's voice failed her, plunging the family into destitution. Young Charlie and his brother Sidney were shuffled between workhouses and bleak charity schools. Imagine being a small child, forced to fend for yourself on the harsh streets of Victorian London. It was this early struggle, this intimate acquaintance with hunger and heartbreak, that would later fuel the deep empathy and social commentary in his films. He wasn't just playing a poor man on screen, he had lived it. This raw experience gave his most famous character, the Tramp, its soul. From these grim beginnings, the stage became his only escape. He made his professional debut at the tender age of 9. He was a natural. He could sing, he could dance, he could make people laugh. He joined a popular clog dancing troupe and toured the music halls of Britain, honing his craft night after night. His big break came when he joined the prestigious Fred Karno Comedy Company. This was like the Harvard of slapstick. It was here that he perfected the art of physical comedy, learning the precise timing and acrobatics that would become his trademark. The Karno troupe eventually toured America, and it was there, in 1913, that a new and exciting world opened up for him. The flickering, magical world of moving pictures. When Chaplin first arrived in Hollywood, it was a chaotic, creative whirlwind. He signed with Keystone Studios, the leading producer of slapstick comedies. At first, the directors didn't know what to do with him. They found his style too subtle, too refined for their brand of frantic, pie-in-the-face humor. But Chaplin was persistent. He knew he had something special. And then, one rainy afternoon, it happened. Rummaging through the studio wardrobe, he created a character. He grabbed a pair of baggy pants, a tight coat, a small bowler hat, and a bamboo cane. For the finishing touch, he trimmed a fake mustache to be small enough not to hide his expression. The moment he put on the costume and waddled onto the set, the Little Tramp was born. The character was an instant sensation. Audiences fell in love with this funny, pathetic, but eternally optimistic figure who always kept his dignity, no matter what life threw at him. He was the underdog everyone could root for. Chaplin's rise was meteoric. He quickly went from an unknown actor to the most famous man on the planet. He gained complete creative control over his films, writing, directing, producing, starring in, and even composing the music for them. He co-founded his own studio, United Artists, alongside other Hollywood titans like Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks, cementing his power and independence. With this freedom, his films became more ambitious. He moved beyond simple slapstick to create feature-length masterpieces filled with emotion and social commentary. In The Kid, he explored the bond between the tramp and an abandoned child, drawing directly from his own painful childhood. In The Gold Rush, he created unforgettable scenes of comedy and desperation, like the famous sequence where the starving tramp eats his own shoe. He blended humor and pathos, what he called comedy drama, in a way no one had ever done before. Then came the 1930s and the arrival of talkies. Sound was revolutionizing Hollywood, and silent stars were fading away. Many thought Chaplin's Tramp, a character built on pantomime, would be finished. But Chaplin resisted. He believed that the universal language of silence was more powerful than words. He made 2 more silent masterpieces in the sound era. In City Lights, he told a heart-wrenching story of the tramp falling for a blind flower girl, culminating in one of the most beautiful and emotionally devastating final scenes in cinema history. Her recognition of him not by sight, but by touch, is pure movie magic. Then, in modern times, he offered a brilliant satire of the industrial age, with the tramp struggling to survive in a world of machines and assembly lines. The film was a poignant farewell to his beloved character. As the world spiraled towards war, Chaplin refused to stay silent in a different way. He could no longer just be an entertainer. He felt a responsibility to use his voice. In 1940, he released The Great Dictator, his first true talking picture. In a bold and courageous move, he played two roles, a humble Jewish barber and the ruthless Hitler-like dictator, Adenoid Hinkle. The film brilliantly satirized fascism, but it ended with something completely unexpected. Chaplin dropped the comedy and spoke directly to the audience as the barber, delivering a passionate 6-minute speech pleading for humanity, democracy, and kindness. He said, "You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Let us use that power. Let us all unite." It was a message that electrified the world, but it also made him powerful enemies. Chaplin's outspoken political views and messy personal life made him a target in post-war America. During the McCarthy-era's Red Scare, he was accused of having communist sympathies. His films, which often criticized capitalism and championed the poor, were seen as suspect. While traveling to London for a premiere in 1952, he was informed that his re-entry permit to the United States had been revoked. The country that had made him a global superstar had turned its back on him. Heartbroken and disillusioned, Chaplin chose not to fight. He settled in Switzerland with his wife Una and their growing family, where he would live for the rest of his life. He had been exiled from Hollywood, but he never stopped creating, making 2 more films in Europe. 20 years later, in 1972, Hollywood finally made amends. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences invited Chaplin back to America to receive an honorary Oscar for his incalculable effect in making motion pictures the art form of this century. When the frail, white-haired legend walked onto the stage, the audience rose to its feet and gave him a 12-minute standing ovation, the longest in Oscar history. Tears streamed down his face as he accepted the award, a beautiful, full-circle moment of reconciliation. He passed away on Christmas Day in 1977, leaving behind a legacy that is simply immeasurable. Charlie Chaplin was more than just a man in a funny costume. He was a true artist who held a mirror up to humanity, showing us our follies, our fears, our capacity for cruelty, but also, and most importantly, our endless capacity for love, hope, and resilience. His Little Tramp, the eternal optimist, reminds us that even in the darkest of times, we can find a reason to smile, pick ourselves up, and keep on waddling down the road. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the life of a true genius. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more like it, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which of Chaplin's films is your favorite. Until next time, stay curious.